All right, everyone, it's tax season, so I get to expound upon how much I hate paying taxes. Yeah, I think that everyone should pay less, by the way. I'm in the middle class. I don't disclose my income, but I make enough money so that it's above median. And, at the moment, not so much because the Amazon paperback sales have plummeted, but KDP sales are spiking. I wonder why. Could it be that 2-month delivery time? When you look at the tax system, the taxes that I have to pay, as a person that's, I don't make six figures, I'm not rich. What I think is this: it's funny to hear liberals say, well, the United States is actually really conservative. We've got like no taxes at all, and Sweden is a centrist country, and stupid things like that. It flabbergasts me. It's astounding to me that people can actually think that. And the only thing I can conclude is that most of these people either make so much that the tax rate doesn't really matter to them, or they make so little that they're not really paying that tax rate. And especially for the self-employed, it's the most regressive, dumb thing in history. The United States penalizes you for taking initiative. It should be the opposite. You should pay less taxes if it's self-employed income. Really, that's the way that it should be. You shouldn't have to pay all of these penalties and fees and stuff. Yeah, I know, Social Security and all this stuff. Okay, understood. It shouldn't be, 15% doesn't make any sense. It should be like maybe 5 or something like that. A person who's self-employed should probably pay less taxes within their bracket. It's additional income. You could probably create a renaissance, a major economic boom if you incentivize people not only to have their normal job, but also to work for themselves a little bit. Make a little bit of money on the side. The government would gain from that productivity. Americans already work hard. They would probably be willing to work a little bit harder if they weren't shelling out so much money to Uncle Sam. And I'm looking at my taxes. I'm thinking, what proportion of this money that I'm paying to the government, state and federal, what proportion is going towards just shooting people? What proportion is going towards basically paying for morons? What proportion is going to give corporations welfare? Now, I'm not one of those libertarians who's like, fuck the poor, because I was poor most of my life. So I don't begrudge certain programs like SNAP benefits, unemployment, and assistance at WIC, which my family got when I was a kid. It's a food assistance program for the needy. I know what it's like to be in that lowest income bracket and also within the working class and lower middle class, not just where I am now. I don't begrudge the poor, but what I do begrudge is the fact that a large proportion of that money shouldn't go to the government at all, because it's essentially paying for things that should be either privatized, handled at a local level, or not handled at all. Like the drug war. How much money did I pay to incarcerate drug users? How many dollars did I pay just to that one thing? How much money went into that congressional fund for when people in Congress get blamed for sexual abuse or whatever? They have like a taxpayer-funded money jar that they can dip into to pay their defense funds. How much money went into that? How much money went into prosecuting people that were innocent? How much went to bombing things? How much went to bioweapons or whatever? I'm thinking my tax rate probably should be a fraction of what it is. And I think the same thing for the super rich, by the way, too. I think that we should reform the tax system. The business tax rate should be somewhat lower. But we should eliminate a bunch of the loopholes that the biggest corporations use and inject real capitalism back into the system. Small business should pay the same rate as a corporation. They should arguably both pay less, by the way. Workers, there shouldn't be such a thing as a payroll tax. If you're making relatively little money, you shouldn't be taxed at all. Shouldn't be any tax. The idea of refunds, by the way, we should eliminate that too. Just eliminate the taxation side and give a direct subsidy. It'd be a lot easier. Why the hell should, and by the way, the tax forms, like you have to pay an accountant to do it unless, you're using an EZ form or something. That's bullshit too. There are some countries in this world, and we're talking developed nations, where it's basically like a 2-page sheet of paper. Here's how much you made. Yep, there's how much you owe. There's like a few write-offs that you can use. With the exception of self-employed income, where it's essentially you're using what amounts to the equivalent to a business deduction, with that exception, most people shouldn't even really have to file more than a piece of paper. And some people do, but usually people, it's just crazy. It's crazy that accountants should even have to exist. No offense to Chris Whalen and all of these others, and to my tax prep people, no offense, but your job should be scant. There shouldn't be much of a reason for anyone who's not at least making six figures to use your services, because it should be easy. Instead, somebody sits there with a calculator poring over 5,000 pages of receipts in order to try to make ends meet. By the way, this is a leftist system. There is no nation in the world today that has a right-wing economic system, in my opinion. Everyone in the world is taxed too much. Doesn't really make sense when you think about it. Most of the functions government serves would be better served by individuals, private groups that you voluntarily associate with, or handled on a local level, or not done. The drug war shouldn't exist. Nobody should be in prison simply for having drugs. Public intoxication shouldn't be illegal. Who the hell cares unless they're raising a ruckus? Then it's disorderly conduct. You can actually prosecute that. No, if people want to wander around stoned in public, I don't really care if they're not raising trouble. If they get run over in the middle of the street, well, that was their choice to be a dumbass. I hate to say it, but it's called natural selection. I really do believe that. Let people fucking smoke crack. I mean, there are plenty of crackheads in the street anyway. Yeah, if you throw them in jail, yeah, spend $10,000 fucking prosecuting him and putting him in jail. That's a real wise use of resources. By the way, then when the cops get shot at by the local gangs, whose fault is it? It's the government's fault. And I have to pay for that bullshit. I have to pay the family, the widow, and the orphans now that exist. I have to pay for them too. And the state created them by abusing people. It's just a stupid system. I hate leftist economics so fucking goddamn much. That's about all. Peace out.